I decided to ask Google a question. Why do women live longer than men? And I found out exactly nothing. There is no clear evidence to back this, and these next 10 stories don't back that claim either. Welcome back, friends and friends-to-be. In this video, we are going to be hearing from 10 of the unluckiest women in the world. Well, calling them unlucky would be giving them a little too much credit, because only the dullest of the dull win Darwin Awards. With that being said, let's jump right on in to number 10, the shortest joyride. Now, if you're going to steal a big toy, you better be able to handle it. Unlike this woman from Southern California, an electric crew was working at an intersection in the wee hours of the morning when our lady friend decided she wanted her very own utility truck, or at least for a little bit. So she hopped on it and began driving off at a high rate of speed. Now, I'm not sure if she even had a license or knew how to drive, but from the way things turned out, I would say no to both. Because seconds after she had hopped in the truck, she crashed into a power pole and then careened into a tree. The woman was never publicly identified, but she was between 30 and 40 years of age, and she was pronounced dead on the scene. Now, I am left wondering why she even stole it. Like, what was her master plan? Let me know down in the comments. And now, we're gonna hop right on in to number 9. Scooter versus semi. Now, Lime scooters popping up everywhere. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, or you don't have them in your area, I envy you. These scooters keep popping up, and they never seem to stop. And the people that are riding them shouldn't always be riding them. After all, it is a scooter with a motor. Melinda was with 2 other friends when they decided walking was for the birds. It was time for them to scoot. That's what riding a scooter is called nowadays, right? Scooting? Regardless what it's called, a good idea when riding one would be to stay out of traffic, especially the bigger vehicles. Melinda decided she was going to start swerving back and forth on her scooter, and that's when she lost control of it and fell directly into a semi-truck. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, I know that this was partially really unlucky, the fact that a semi just happened to be coming right when she fell into traffic, but wasn't she kind of asking for it by swerving in and out of traffic in the first place? I would have to say yes to that, but who knows. Moving on now to number 8, Texas Takedown. Potbelly pigs, you know, the little tiny ones, they're just so cute. Well, they're cute when they're little, and then when they get big, all I can see is bacon. Now, when you're talking about a wild hog, there's absolutely nothing cute about it. Which leaves me confused as to why a woman would go near one. But one Texas woman did just that. She saw some feral hogs outside of a house she was working at. They were the only thing standing between her and her car. They looked innocent enough, so she walked out the door and to her car. And the hogs, they came straight for her. Luckily, the homeowner's dog ran outside and chased the dogs off. Unluckily, the dog didn't come outside until after she was already dead. Number 7, the lone hiker. Okay, let me give you a scenario real quick. Let's say a woman is 78 years old. She goes hiking on a mountain. It's cold. Oh, and she's alone. Now, would you say, yeah, Em, this is a splendid idea? Or would you say, Em, you are crazy. No one would do that. Yes, it is a horrible idea, but Barbara thought it was a splendid idea. She packed her things, and her husband drove her to Blueberry Mountain and dropped her off. They're both crazy. She was almost at the summit, and she had to keep pushing. And under normal conditions, that probably would have been fine. But when you're on a mountain, in the cold and the wind, that's not fine. At some point, she lost her footing and fell. A search dog later found her walkie-talkie on the ledge she fell from, and her body was discovered shortly after. Hiking alone is one of those things people tell you not to do. This woman did so much more. Hiking alone, on a mountain, in the cold, by herself. Like, come on. At her age, she either thought she was Wonder Woman, or she was crazy. Number 6, dry scooping. An OnlyFans member has died from a heart attack after she was dry scooping. Now, if you're like me, you hear that and you go, oh my word, what the? But slow down, dry scooping isn't what it sounds like, but it's also exactly what it sounds like. Okay, now I'm confusing myself. Let me explain. This is a new TikTok challenge, very similar to the cinnamon challenge, where you take a scoop of pre-workout and instead of mixing it with water, you just dump it dry into your mouth, hence dry scooping. The thing here about pre-workout, for one, it's not FDA approved, so no regulations. And two, it contains high amounts of caffeine intended to improve endurance, stamina, and focus during a workout. She ended up taking the equivalent to 4 cups of coffee at once, and then straight into a workout which caused havoc on her heart and resulted in a heart attack. Nowhere on the jar did it specifically instruct her to take this dry for TikTok. That's just dumb. Number 5. New neighbors. You know, we've heard some crazy hoarding stories. This one just might top them all. This next lady's house had gotten so filled with garbage and other stuff that it had actually become a breeding ground for rats. And the rats had been making babies for so long that the surrounding houses were starting to become infested with rats. After the rats came the smell, because the lady who lived in the house had passed away and was still in the house. Police had to fly a drone into the house before sending in 2 officers fully clothed in hazmat suits. Eventually, the woman's body was located amidst the clutter and trash that filled the house to the brim. Now, I love rats. I even have some pet rats. But having so much garbage in your house that they move in unannounced and start breeding, that's just disgusting. Number 4, falling for the falls. Fences are usually put in place for a reason. And when those fences have warning signs, it's even more reason not to crawl over them. At least that's what I'd have to say. Our next lady friend was visiting Big Sur. She found her way to McWay Falls and just wanted to get a bit closer. But there's this silly fence in the way, covered in signs warning her to stay on that side of the fence. But she didn't want to be there, so she started climbing the fence. She only wanted a peek and then she would climb back over and be on her way. She had just reached the top. She lost her balance and then she fell 50 feet in total until she landed into the McWay Falls and was carried on her way. Several hours later, her body was recovered. Access to the bottom of the falls and the beaches down there are prohibited. Now, I wonder why that would be. Number 3, the key to Darwin's. When you go on vacation, it is essential to jam-pack every single moment, filled with fun activities. Well, at least if you're doing it how I do it. And with all those activities going on, you can't really blame a person for forgetting a few basic things, like your hotel key. I know there are plenty of times I've lost my hotel key, so I do the logical thing. I go to the front desk and get a new one. Our next lady friend did not do this. When she lost her hotel key, she decided she was going to crawl through her hotel room window and boom, problem solved. She climbed in, got the window open, and stuck her head in. Great success. Until the window fell down onto her neck. She was trapped, and she ended up dying, stuck in that window. It would have been so much easier to just go to the front desk and ask for a new key. But who knows, maybe she had vacation fog. Maybe she was just forgetful that day. Maybe she was born with it. Maybe it was Maybelline. Number 2, Shoots and Darwins. Now, normally, when someone smokes something and makes stupid decisions, well, they stay in the confines of their living room. Our next lady friend had never smoked before, and what she was smoking remains unknown. But whatever it was definitely caused by some bad decision making. At some point, she thought something was chasing her, so she had to leave her apartment. That thing, it was hot on her tail, and she decided the only logical escape route was down the garbage chute. So she crawled in and whee! And splat. Police said it was an accident. No foul play, just foul thinking capabilities. Police are also saying she possibly mistaked the door to the garbage chute for the staircase. Those things don't even look remotely close. One goes straight down and one goes... But I guess depending on what she smoked, they could have looked the same. Number 1, human catapult. That's right. Human catapult. Catapults are cool. They're very cool, actually, but I would never crawl into one and launch myself. That's for sure. One woman really wanted to do this, so she did. A net was placed to catch her, and she had on some safety gear, but there's not much you can do to protect yourself if a catapult goes wrong. She crawled into the catapult and then lifted off. She was fired 70 feet into the air by the medieval-style catapult and reached speeds up to 50 miles per hour before she landed safely in the net. That's when thoughts of true success began flooding her brain. That's also when the net started to bounce back and she began soaring in the air again. Yes, she bounced right back out of the net, fell 30 feet to the ground with many broken bones. She just wanted to be the first woman to successfully be catapulted. But instead, she was one of the first women to successfully fail a catapult. What do you think? Darwin well-deserved or just a tragic accident? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And then, I want you to head on over, watch this video, leave me a comment, tell me that you went and checked it out, because that would be really cool. Thank you guys for watching, thanks for your support, and as always, stay safe out there. Troop TT.